Welcome to Cloud and Clear, the podcast by SADA for innovative business leaders and technology enthusiasts, where we explore how Google Cloud is transforming the industry and what that means to you. Now, here's your host, Tony Safoian.
On this week's Cloud and Clear, I'm super excited to welcome our very own Orkideh Shahidi, Head of People Operations. Welcome, Orkideh.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you for joining me in my office on this glorious day.
It is nice.
To talk about one of my favorite and most important things, which is the people experience at SADA Systems. By the way, happy 7-year SADA-versary.
I know. It's my 7th year in about a few more days. I'm excited. I can't believe it's been 7 years.
7 years. How much change have we seen in 7 years?
Oh my God, so much. Do we have all day to talk about that? We have all day.
I just think about how your organization and that function has shifted just in the last 2 years, let alone the last 7. But something that's occurred to us many years ago is that we cannot continue to grow and win in the marketplace unless we win or we continue to strive to improve all the time in this area of people experience. How people experience actually precedes both customer experience and partner experience. If we don't get the people experience right, we can't get anything right. And that's precisely what you're in charge of every day, working very hard every day to deliver at SADA Systems. So how do you do it?
I think, the way we do it here at SADA is to live our core values. We have managed to come up with some key core values that we live by that kind of makes us the best place to work. For example, one of our, core values is be data-driven. So what does that mean to us? That means people give me feedback every day about everything. We have an open door policy here at SADA. People come to your office, to Dana's office, to mine. And so we listen. We hear our people out. Some of our biggest initiatives are from talking to folks.
Actually, yeah. If you think about it, I think even the core values, the genesis of core values 5-6 years ago now or so, was something that was born out of somebody's idea that we should document these and be vocal about them.
We sat around in a room, we talked about it. These are things that are important to us as a company and as us to individuals. So it makes it easy to live them. And so going back to some of our initiatives that have come out of these things, I think we had some of our biggest ones, which we're working on this year. One of our newest initiatives going into 2020, it's the parental leave, which actually started from people coming into your office and Dana's office, giving you feedback on how important it is and how they want to have that here at SADA Systems, right?
Yeah, look, some of the people that grew up in the company are literally growing up, right? And they're entering kind of new chapters in their lives when these other things they never really thought about are becoming important. And then we mix that, sort of intermingle that with all the new people we're bringing on board who have worked in other places, who have different policies and different views on these subjects like parental leave. And, you're right. We do take feedback. We learn, and our intention is to continue to iterate and be best in class in our people experience, which includes quality of life issues like parental leave. In every scenario, we try to be best in class if possible.
Right, and then we go back to, again, one of our core values, which is do the right thing, your true north. We always treat everybody here at SADA with respect and feeling of belonging. So this the concept of diversity and inclusion is something we've been practicing all along. I think it was interesting. I think you were saying you didn't realize that there was a difference. And I was like, well, that's understandable because, you came from an immigrant family. Your mom is the co-founder of SADA Systems. So to you, it is the same. You always make people feel comfortable and like they belong. So I understand why you didn't know the difference, but for sure it's a big initiative for everybody out there. And hence the reason I think we won a award for it this year. So
congratulations.
Yes.
Timmy Awards?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yes,
we posted it recently. Look, it was admittedly something I didn't think about enough with regards to how deliberate we have to be as an organization, as a leadership team, in not only creating a diverse work environment, but one that makes the diverse sort of members feel included be inclusive, meaning a seat at the table, a voice, an opinion. At the end of the day, and I've kind of learned this from, various things like the Atlanta Summit, where there was a speaker on the topic specifically speaking to all the customer executives who were in attendance about how diversity and inclusion is a competitive advantage. It spurs innovation. Not only is it the right thing to do and absolutely necessary for those reasons, but it's just the smartest thing to do. And it's part of, I think, what makes us special. And it's something that we have to be deliberate about and have a position on, because the entire tech industry, I think, needs to evolve.
100%. What we've done is, as you know, we've also actually changed up our job descriptions as well. So now we're partnering up with a company called Recruit Her. We're changing our verbiage within our descriptions to be gender neutral.
Who knew? Who knew a few years ago that language inadvertently can be biased and turn off a certain subset of potential applicants? But, this is science driven now. It's data driven now. And it's amazing how much those matter. But I know that words in general matter, not just what we write in job descriptions, but the language that we use. The way that I speak as an executive, I think, has changed by virtue of just a greater level of awareness around D&I.
I'm very proud to be part of a company like this, that we're actually on the cutting edge, just like we do everything else. We were the first to come up with these things. We've been practicing it. We're very active in trying to do more and more. So it's really nice. I'm very happy to be here and doing that.
What's the event you guys are going to, like, in the next week or two with a bunch of our female leaders?
It's called the Society of Engineers. It's happening in Anaheim. So we're actually taking some of our own engineers so they can talk to other women engineers there. And hopefully we can get more and more of those developers and engineers to come work for us here at SADA.
I have two daughters, 6 and 8. And, my 6-year-old specifically, she definitely wants to work at SADA.
Oh, well, we definitely have an opening.
I told her that. She thinks she could just get the boss title, like, immediately. She's trying to negotiate that right now.
I love that.
No, I think, again, if you look at us 5 years ago versus now, huge change. And I think we are seeing a shift within Google Cloud as well. I mean, that is our key partner organization. The podcast that actually was released today with Meg Tucker talks specifically about that. She's kind of part of that new generation of leaders in the last several months from Google, but so much of that leadership is much more diverse than it was. I'm glad to be associated with that organization that also is making those strides, and we can just ride along with them and be influenced by them and vice versa.
Yes, everybody needs to do their part.
What are the things you think that are the most important to people with regard, and we've done these surveys, right? What is the most important thing to people about loving the work they do and where they work?
We've done many of these surveys, and the number one reason they cite for being at SADA is the people. So they love the people that they work with. They are some of the smartest people. They are people that you like to hang out with outside of work. People have been in each other's weddings, and they hang out after work. So one of the number one reasons is the folks that we have here at People. And again, as I mentioned before, it's because we listen to our folks too. Those are the important key folks. So we are listening to them of what they want, whether it's in benefits like the T cards, or important initiatives like parental leave. I think that's what makes us stand out. But
it's more than, I think culture fit's important. Like, we hire people that are kind people. We don't like brilliant jerks, all those things, right? But I think they are also generally impressed by one another, like in terms of their technical acumen, their work ethic, their commitment to customers. I mean, people want to be around, others who are striving for excellence. And I think that is something that we've gotten better at over time. I think pushing down hiring accountability to not just the hiring manager, but we have more of a kind of a 360 process, but giving more autonomy in terms of people choosing their own teams, having a bigger voice in that. And we still give them the right guardrails and the feedback to make sure we continue to make the right hires. But I think that has improved happiness too. People
100%.
choosing their own teams, right?
For sure. That makes a big difference. And the other part of this is, I always say this when I'm interviewing folks, is like, there's never a boring day here at SADA. Every day you come to work, there's something new to do. There's a new challenge. There's always something we're trying to do. You talk about it, you get feedback, you get to try things here you've not done in other places.
That's true.
We're still small enough where you can come to you or to me and talk about some changes or this idea that you have, and we're not too large to go through this red tape of not being able to implement it. I think for us as a technology company and just as a company in general, those are some key important things that make us the best place to work.
One of the things that we're working on as we scale is, a regional strategy. Like 5 years ago, 95% of our people were sitting in headquarters, and it was a very different effort to instill and drive culture forward. Now we have 9 locations and growing. So how are you actually exporting or facilitating culture and core values and a feeling of belonging to 9 different locations or 8 locations outside of headquarters simultaneously? How do you do that?
We definitely learn every day to do more. We try to do in every event that we have here. So I can just give you an example. Hey, Halloween is coming up. How do you make groups feel part of headquarters, or how do you make people want to be part of this event that we're doing? So folks are doing their, people putting on costumes. We're a tech company. We take pictures on Hangouts, and we're going to be, everybody has a theme that they're going to do together as a group. Whether you're here in headquarters or at home, you can still dress up, be part of the team, feel part of the team. And again, we have technology that we actually provide our own customers that we use to keep in touch as if people were here. You don't have to be actually in the same room physically to be able to do that anymore.
I think it was even when we just first started to have people, work remote or work in these other field offices, it was easy to forget how to customize things, whether they're all hands, quarterly meetings, to make people feel like they're part of one team. I think we've gotten a lot better at that. I think we'll continue to get really good at that. One of the initiatives that actually Miles Ward brought in, just the theory around, is like documentation, a standard company handbook. So we're working on civilization or civ, and just to have a uniform place to document all of our processes for our US and Canada team, so that they can go to one place, contribute to the content. So, and by the way, Lincoln brought up the fact that for the first time, like if you're in marketing, you can read like sales documentation. If you're in sales, you can read legal documentation. So like now people understand each other's worlds. I think that helps create cohesiveness.
We are all on the same page. We're reading the same things. We have access to this one document that, that's from every department. So it definitely is helping us, putting us back together too. The other part of this is, as you know, we created this club called Culture Club here, which included remote folks. So we got a lot of feedback from them on how we can make them feel more welcome. So, I think there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but I think we've done a good job so far of keeping everybody, intact and, being part of the same culture.
One of the things that will define, I think, our magnitude of success in the future is our ability to continue to, 2 things. One is recruit talent. The other 2 is grow and maintain talent. Can you talk about some of the things, like we're realizing that we have to do our own training for our managers and our leaders here to continue to get better at what they do, so that when people are entering their teams, they feel like, they're supported and safe, and also their career is top of mind for their managers, their career trajectory and career pathing. Can you talk about what we're doing in terms of enablement of our managers to become better leaders over time?
So we introduced professional development a few years ago where we allow folks to go out and, depending on what they want to learn, we reimburse them for that, class they want to take, certification that they want to do. So now this year we're looking into a platform that is actually for the development of our leaders, new managers, new mid-level managers, VPs, or like even C-levels. Mm-hmm. So we are going to be using a specific product, which I don't want to advertise. Yes. But that's going to help grow our folks. It's like coaching one-on-ones and, assessment tests. So it's a full platform where we're going to help our, managers grow, and they're going to help people that report to them grow. So it's the next level of assisting our managers.
It's really important. I think, look, with effort, as a CEO, I can make sure the executives are on the same page. Like, I can do that. And with effort, we can make sure like we hire the right people that are on the ground selling and delivering effectively. But everyone in between, like if we're not all enabled the same way with the tools to be exceptional managers, then the teams and the pods and the structure of SADA as it grows, that continuity and philosophy and thought leadership and how to create the best working environment for the teams that you manage. I think that's when, that's the highest risk, right? For any organization, is like, how are the managers doing it between the people on the ground delivering and the executive team? If we get that right, I think I'm super confident in our ability to continue to scale.
They're a key person here at SADA, and we need to make sure they have the right tools to be successful. And I think this is part of that journey.
And some of them, look, we're hiring from the outside with existing management experience. Others have grown into the roles by virtue of being exceptional as an individual contributor. Then they become managers. So how do we enable them to be excellent managers? What we shouldn't forget is that it's not just like nobody's born with this ability or set of skills, right? We all need coaching and training, and certainly us as executives, we all have this growth mindset, and I think that should exist in every level. So the other part of this, which only is great if we get this part right, but the other part of it is I'm really excited because I feel and think that in no other time at SADA have we been a more attractive place to come to work. Like, not to come to work, to choose to join, I should say.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Of course, it's great to come to work, but let's talk about recruitment. So we're more attractive than ever, but it's not just like Miles Ward is here and Scott Jensen is here, Michael Ames is here with this great executive team. I want to work at SADA. There's a lot of things we have to do very well. Of course, years ago, we decided to take recruitment in-house for the most part. We still work with agencies and stuff, but we wanted to be competitively better. So we had to insource it. Can you talk about that whole team and Manny and Simon and how they work and what makes SADA different in our recruitment philosophy and approach?
We try to recruit folks that are going to be a culture add here to SADA systems. It's very important to us.
I like how you said culture add.
Yes.
That's from Civilization.
Yes, it is. That's why I used it. But we need to have those folks because, again, as I told you, the best place to work here is because of its folks, of the people that we have managed to retain and hire. We're obviously done some changes here and there to our recruitment process in the sense that, what kinds of interviews work better than others? We're very strict more on getting feedback from the managers, the hiring managers. We've got a process down that, we can get people in and out much quicker. So
we want a high SLA. We want a good SLA for a candidate because to me, people experience starts at the applicant level.
That's correct.
From the moment you apply to your very last day at SADA, whenever that may be, I look at that entire life cycle as needing to be exceptional. So that touch point of the first time I'm interviewing at SADA or just even lobbing an email to the recruiter,
our recruiters follow up. They go from each interview, from the next person, they follow the candidate over. They talk to them throughout the process. We have a communication going all the time. They have a great relationship with the candidates. Again, regardless of whether or not this person is hired, We treat them with the utmost respect. And again, I feel like at the end of the day, everybody does want to work at SADA Systems because we have a lot to offer. And again, we're reinventing ourselves every day, trying to see what works and what doesn't, and try to implement the corrections or the improvements to the process.
Yeah, no, I think we are more attractive than ever. I think we are running the process better than ever.
We have a great brand out there.
We're a very good brand.
We do a lot. We're very proud of everything we've accomplished.
I'm working on some secret stuff with Google around recruitment. I can't tell you what it is, but I can't tell the audience. I can tell you, but just not the audience. But the other thing is also, I think the recruitment team does really well is once they even start at SADA, they maintain those relationships. I brought you in, you're here, 1 month in, 3 months in, 6 months in. How's it going? I think they remain their biggest advocates and champions.
100%. Manny is our head of recruitment here, and he keeps a relationship with all his hires. Sometimes when he'll come tell me something about that, I'm like, oh, you're still keeping in touch? He's like, of course I am. So it's a great relationship that they kind of owe each other something, I feel like. You got me the job, you helped me hire. So it's a great relationship. And again, I think we've managed to bring on some really good people here that like to be around each other.
I appreciate how flexible that team is culturally. We pivot all the time. We move really fast. I think we have 60 open requisitions right now.
Yes, we do.
Oh my gosh.
It's a good time. It's growth time. It's exciting time.
Can you imagine having 180, 190 people employed and having 60, you have a third of your, you're looking for a third growth right now in this point in time.
Throughout my 7 years, we've always grown another 30, 40%. So it's just, bring it on. We'll do more. Again, that's part of the beauty of SADA, right? Evolve, learn new things, and try new things and do better.
Are you looking forward to all hands in January? I know you already started.
Yes, I am. To have every one of our remote employees be here in the office and hang out with them and do things with them, yes. And kick off the year. 2020 is going to be big for us.
Orkideh Shahidi, thank you so much for joining me on Cloud and Clear. I can't wait till this episode comes out.
Neither can I. Thank you very much, Tony, for your time.
And happy SADAversary once again.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Cloud and Clear. Check the show notes for links to this week's topics. And don't forget to connect with us on Twitter @Cloud and Clear and our website, sada.com. Be sure to rate and review the show on your favorite podcast app.